All right, I'm going to go up to the top and press play to see where we left off last time. You can see we have another character that's sort of randomly walking around our environment. Looks pretty good. All right, so what I'd like to do is create another task that we can use to use within our behavior tree here to create, instead of like we have this random location here, which is used for searching for random locations. We're going to use it to follow the main player. So I'm going to right click on this and I'm just going to duplicate this, or you can, I think it's Control D, and then you do, instead of random location, you can do, we'll name it like follow player. And let's rename that again so we get rid of that one at the end. All right, so let's open this up. So if you remember last time, what we have is we're going to pretty much keep this code the same, but what we have is the controlled pawn for this is the actor that this is connected to, which is essentially, let me dock this. This is the NPC, this NPC character here, NPC follow blueprint. So what I want to do, I'm going to hold Alt and left click here, is I want to get a reference to the player character. And then what this is going to do is this is going to, actually this isn't follow player. This is going to, let's rename this to find player. Because all this code is going to do is it's going to, let's drag this out and get a reference to the player character. So get player character. All right, so what's happening here is we get the location of our player character, and it's going to set this up here. So once this executes, we're going to store the Blackboard value of within this key, which is the Blackboard key that we have here. It's the same one, this NPC location. And let me save all this off here so we don't compile and save. There we go. And so we'll get the location of our main character. And so, yeah, instead of the controlled pawn. And so what this does is once we get the actor's location, where it says get random point navigable radius, we don't want this set to 1000. We'll set it to 50, because what it's doing is it's just getting a position that's within 50 units around the player. Or so with 1000, it might end up walking, way far off from the player. So we'll try 50 there. We might have to play with that number, and then we store that value in here. And then this, once this executes, we store that value off, and then if it's successful, we finish the execution. All right, so let's compile and save this, and let's go back to our behavior tree over here. And I'm just going to grab these, well, really this random location here, copy, paste, and I'm going to place this here. And instead of random location, we'll call this follow player. And then we want to, like we found a random location in our environment, we're going to find our player. Let's see, this is the FTK one, so this is the recent one. Make sure if you're finding that your stuff isn't working, see how I have NPC location, this one self actor, we always want it to look for the NPC location, because remember that was essentially the variable that's storing off the current location. All right, now let's copy this, and we'll have it where we can move to NPC. Let's see, so and in here, even though it says NPC location, we're using the same variable. It should be like really more of like character location or something like that. But for now, looks pretty good. All right, so the next thing we need to do is we need to have essentially a way of checking. Well, okay, so we're walking around in a random location. Do we see the player? Right, so the first thing it does is you can see, remember there's a 1 here, there's a 4 there. So do I go down this path or do I switch this one? Well, there's these we have our we have actually a decorator here, and what it does is, and we want to use a blackboard decorator because we're going to be using we'll create a variable like a boolean in a second to check whether or not our player is seen. So if I click this as if I turn on this blackboard here, it's going to go here first, and it says self actor. You can see what we're going to be using is NPC location and is not set. So what that means is it goes down here, it's not set yet, and then we are going to set it, but it doesn't know yet like what we're actually setting. So let's go back to our blackboard for a second and create a boolean variable, and we're going to call this is, maybe is player, or let's see, player seen. And so once our player is seen, I kind of like where it's always like is player seen. So something like this, is player seen. So, so here we go. So if we do see the player, what we'll do is, let's save this off and go back to our behavior tree. So with that same decorator selected, you can see it says is not seen. And let's see if we can set this. We want the blackboard key is player seen, not the NPC location. So if our player is seen, it's not set yet, right? And then in here, if it is seen, if we do see the player or it is set, like we check it off, then what we're going to do is we're going to do the chase. We're going to do the following the player. So we're kind of like doing a branch check. All right, so let's name this, instead of blackboard base condition, player not seen. And then let's add another decorator here. And then we'll name this one player seen. And we do this with the same variable, is player seen, and is set. That means the player has been seen. And we should make sure that this is capitalized here, just to keep with convention. Same thing with the other side. And let's do the same thing here. All right, let's save this. All right, so let's close these out. And let's go back to our AI controller. Now within this, this is where you actually add what kind of perception you want your player to have. So when you click on here, you can see there's AI down here. And we're looking for AI perception here. And this is going to go to our controller. Now for our actual main character, what we want is that to be the source. So I don't know if you saw that there was an AI perception here, then there's a stimuli source. We'll focus on this for now. But here you can see AI perception. And then we have a bunch of different options within this. So for example, let's see, scene configuration. If I click on this, you can see from the drop down, there's hearing, prediction, sight, team sense, touch, all this stuff. So like, for example, if we click on AI sight configuration and we expand that and we drill down, you can see it shows us a debug color for the sight radius. It shows us how far we want to go, things like that for our character. Remember, this AI controller, let's compile and save this, is connected to our AI character in the scene, this little guy. Let's see, something else I want to do is, let's see, detection by affiliation. I want to just check all of these on. So the problem with this though is if you have non-playable characters also walking around, the character might chase them as well. So we'll build out a special tagging structure, but I just want you to be able to see this where the character is sort of aware of everything and it just sort of chases everyone in the scene. All right, so let's compile and save this. Now for our player character, if I press play here, if we look off to the side here of this guy right here, let me hit escape one more time. The character that we're using is, let's see, for our starter game is Robot 245 Blueprint. So I think let's see, Robot let's see, it's in characters. I think we put them in player character here, generic bot, I think. I've made so many of these demos for other people. As I meet with students, I'll redo this a bunch of times, but let's see if I can find that. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. It's in the blueprints folder up here. There we go. 245 character. And there it is, robot 245 blueprint. So it's whatever character you're using as your main character. Now in here, I've already added this. I was demoing this for a little bit before. So here's AI perception stimulus source. So you just click on AI and then you add it here and it should pop into your list. And what that does is that makes our main character an actual stimulus source. Now inside of here, it says register as source for senses. You want to go in here and you want to just select AI senses site. And this is what you can, if you see this character. Now notice there was other options in here, right? Like team, sight, hearing, and damage. So like if the character's movement plays an audio file or something, you can make other characters aware of it. But for now, we only want this character to be seen. One last thing as well. So you see where it says true here, auto register as source. We want this to be, this checked on as true. So it's always detecting or checking for this. And remember that you want to hit the plus sign if you're adding an additional source. So for example, here's sight and hearing. So that's how you'd add this first one. Again, we don't really need this one. When you go to one up the assignment, you'll probably do something like that where you hit plus and you add the hearing if that's what you want to do for one up the assignment. Let's compile and save that. All right, so let's go back and open our AI controller, which was in that follow folder that we created, this one. And in the event graph here, let's see if it's down here, if we could just click on it. I'm looking for on target perception. It doesn't look like it's in there. So I'm going to right click and I'm just going to start typing on target. Let's see, perception. And you might have to turn off context sensitive. So let's just type in perception, see if it pops up. Updated. All right, bear with me. On target. Yeah, here we go. Assign on target perception updated. So I'm actually going to get rid of this bind event here. So what I want this is going to check or constantly update for AI perception. Actually, is there two in here? Why am I getting this other event 0? Let's see. I think because I unlinked it. So let's try this. So I'm going to grab our stimulus here and I'm going to drag this out. And what I want to do, actually, let's right click on stimulus here. Let's see. I want to break the AI stimulus. Let me see if I turn off context sensitive. There we go. Yeah, so break AI stimulus. So what this does is it shows you all of the stimulus options. So see how it says age, expiration age, strength, stimulus location. What these refer to is, I'm going to compile and save this for a second. When I go inside here and I press play and I hit the key for my quotes, I'm going to hit 1 and 2 to turn those off, and I'm going to press number 4. Do you see how there's a little sphere that appears and it says sight, age, all those things? This thing is the other character is fully aware when I enter its zone, its AI perception zone. And so when I'm inside of here, inside this, when I broke the stimulus into its separate sections, you can program it so it does different things when it's seen it for a specific period of time. When it hasn't seen it for a while, maybe it plays an animation where it scratches its head. So there's a lot of different things you can do within this. All right, so let's, I'm going to drag this off and I'm going to type cast, let me type 245 and see if it pops up. Yeah, robot 245 blueprint. Remember, this is the robot of our character. Now, if you just use if you're not using your own robot character in there and you're using a default one from Unreal, you could just type in cast to third person. Let's see. There we go. Blueprint third person character. That will give you the generic third person character that's inside the scene versus the one that's from your own game. All right, so let's connect our actor to our object. Now this is where we're actually going to program it so that we can check on, if you remember, let me go back to my Blackboard really quickly here. Do you remember this is player scene variable? So this is where we can actually set it up so that like, if we, let's see, set value as bool. We'll bring that up in a second. Value as bool. Might have to turn context sensitive back on. And you know what we want? Oh, here we go. Blackboard set value as bool. We want the Blackboard variable. So this is what we're doing here. Is once we get into like contact, we want to set the value for our character. So, but it says set value is full Blackboard, but we need to get the actual Blackboard, our actual Blackboard, which is this one right here. So right now I'm just going to right click. I'm going to write get Blackboard. And I think I could be wrong. If we leave this, because it says Blackboard component, but we only have the one, I feel like this will still work the same. We just haven't targeted which Blackboard it is yet. Because we have, let's see, we have the Blackboard setup or Blackboard behavior tree set up here. I think we should be okay. So, okay, so what we're going to do is set this to true. And then, oh, you know what? We have this key name here. And what this is for is this is the name of the variable that's inside of our Blackboard key. So if you see is player scene here, I'm going to click on this and I'm going to hit Control C to copy that. And then that's what we're going to be referencing. Let's make sure. Looks pretty good. So yeah, let's go back here, compile and save it. And then for the key name, that's what we're getting the error for. We want to set this key name. And there's a way to do it where you get a string value. So we type make literal name. And then this will allow us to enter any string value or string name in here. So I'm going to hit Control V to paste that. So now what this is going to do is it's going to set that Blackboard key value to true if we see our character. And remember, that's what's going to help us to switch between, let's open our behavior tree here. It's going to help us to say, okay, if our character has not been seen, we just keep moving randomly. And then if our character has been seen, we follow or chase the player. Actually, you know what? I'm going to actually delete this one off for a second. And I'm going to select my AI perception here and right click. And then just see, let's turn off context sensitive, add event for AI perception here. And then I'm going to grab add on perception updated here. I think the other one would have had some issues linking this out. It's actually, you know what? Let's do the target one again. But I think there was an issue. Here, let's try this again. I have a little fear that it wouldn't have worked, but add on target perception updated. And then let's link this. Let's drag this off, select break AI stimulus, and let's set this. I have a feeling doing it the other way would have ended up, because it didn't have this AI perception in here, linking this to that would have caused this issue. So let's hit compile and save. Oh, we have to link our actor to our object. Let's see if this works now. If the character sees me and chases. Yeah, so it is. It's just kind of going a little slow. It's following my character. Remember, you can go into the character node here. And let's see. I believe it's called speed. Is it movement? Oh, we have to select character movement here. And then here's walking. So just playing with this, like it says max walk speed, and we'll do 1,000. And we'll compile and save that, and then hopefully it walks a little faster. Yeah, there we go. See how quick the character's walking? So, you know, once it sees you. Now it stopped at the last location that I was at. And what we'll do is we'll look at fixing that kind of stuff in the next video. But for now, oh, you know why it stopped? It stopped because I moved outside of the zone, essentially, like once it got to our character. We'll clean all this stuff up in the next video.